Bless you to all those women out there that do cloth diapers. You are my hero. Yeah. I was like, I'm 2 weeks overdue. I need to get this baby out.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby, a podcast dedicated to exploring the personal and emotional journeys of parenting. I'm your host. My name is Medea. Today I have Rebekah, DIY mom and host of TV show DIY Mom on Binge TV, and mother of one. Rebekah, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Medea. Nice to be here.
Of course. So we're going to start with something called the Fast Five, where I ask you 5 questions back to back and you answer with the first thing that comes to your head.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Biggest pregnancy craving.
Chocolate and cheese together.
I've never heard of that. Oh my gosh, that sounds really good though.
It's like a chocolate muffin with a cheddar piece of like white cheddar cheese.
I'm writing that down. I'm gonna try that tonight. That sounds so
Are you
good.
pregnant?
No, I'm not.
Just eat it.
Just for fun. It just sounds really good. Next is which is worse? You run out of diapers or you run out of wipes?
Diapers, because with wipes you can figure out like a face cloth or something, you can sort something else out. Paper towel and water.
Yeah, there's always something you can use, but diapers,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can use for that.
Exactly. And trust me, I failed at the cloth diapers. I tried to be the mom with the cloth diapers and I just couldn't do it.
Why do they not work?
No, it was just as soon as I had to spray and clean off the like a huge poop, I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And my friend who was very good at cloth diapering was like, well, you need this attachment that goes on the back of your toilet and then you can spray them off into the toilet. I was like, I'm gonna throw up. This is disgusting. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Bless you to all those women out there that do cloth diapers. You are my hero.
Yeah, it's difficult. One word to describe labor and one word to describe parenthood.
Labor. Okay, one word. Horrific. I was
Good
throwing up
one.
the whole time. I was so sick. I wanted to have a home birth. I had like
Hmm.
the water tub all set up and everything. And I was like, I was, every time I had a contraction, I was vomiting. And then my midwife came to check me out and she was like, you've got meconium in your waters. You need to go to the hospital. Threw up all the way to the hospital, was in the hospital for like another 24 hours. This is like 48 hours in. And then on the third day of my labor, they said, you're going to need a C-section. So it ended in a C-section, 2 weeks overdue. I could have gone in like 3 weeks earlier and had an induced C-section, but anyway, overdue, big stretch marks, and C-section in the end.
Wow, so nothing went according to plan.
No, it's
Oh my
terrible.
gosh, we'll get more into that later because I have more questions about that. And then one word to describe parenthood.
Fascinating.
Oh, I like that. Fascinating.
Yeah, because every day is different and every stage was different, and different parts are interesting. And I always find like the psychology of trying to understand your child is very fascinating to me. I love
Yeah.
like good psychology and parenting advice books.
Yeah. And how old is your daughter?
She's just turned 12, so I'm kind of out of the baby phase completely now. I got a preteen.
Wow, I haven't had somebody on here with a 12-year-old yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll have some questions about that.
Yeah.
Um, Favorite baby product you can't live without?
Mm, what was the product? Well, this is kind of a random one, but the amber necklace. Every like picture I have of her, every picture I have of Lennon with as a baby, she has this amber teething necklace on. And I think it really helped with her teething pain. That or like, well, wait, hold on a second. The baby swing, that was a game changer. I loved the baby swing because that would keep her asleep and occupied. And I love a white noise maker, a white noise machine. So they have
Oh,
longer
babies
sleeps,
love
longer
that.
naps, blackout blinds, and a white noise machine.
Hmm. So white noise machine, baby swing, and teething necklace.
Yeah.
So what is a teething necklace?
It's like amber beads, and the amber stones give this oil that helps them with their with teething pain and stuff like that. So
So she bites on it?
no, she would just wear it, just like a little necklace, a little cute little necklace. But you can get them as
Oh,
anklets or other things too. But she always had the necklace on.
very cool.
Hmm.
Last question. Most unexpected joy of motherhood.
Um, I guess just when they say they love you.
Hmm. How old was she when she said that?
I don't know when I don't know if I have a memory of her first saying it, but I do have a video of her sitting on the potty and telling me, Mom, you're so cute. Like I would say probably to her, you're
Mm.
so cute. And she said, you're so cute. And I just loved that stage, like around 2.5, when she first started talking in sentences and really engaging with me. That was probably the moment that I realized, oh, I get it. I get it why people love being a mom so much, and just all the funny things she would say. Cracks
Yeah.
me up. I love just when she does something funny that makes me laugh.
It's cool seeing how they just take one word at a time and slowly start to string them together, and before you know it, they're just speaking English. It's nuts.
She was impersonating me at like a very young age, I'd say just over a year old. I heard her walking around the house going, oh, oh. And then she would do this, um, with a little snap at the end, and I was like, where is she getting this? And then I heard myself on the phone with my mom going, oh. And I realized
Ah,
it's me she was imitating. One time I heard her
whoa.
as a toddler walking around going, oh, my back. Oh, my back. And it was in the exact tone that I would have said it. And I was, you kind of have these moments where you're like, where did they get that? Who did they hear this from? And then all of a sudden you hear yourself do it. And you're like, okay, she got that from me.
That's so cute. Literally having a mini me, a mini you
Yeah, a little
around.
mini me.
That's so cute. Um, so on to the questions. What were some of the most memorable moments during your pregnancy?
Well, to be honest, I had a really difficult pregnancy. So a lot of the things that I remember are being in having like a really crazy gallbladder pain because at that time I was still waitressing. And I would get like a really, really strong, hard pain that the only way I could get the pain to go away would be to bend over completely, almost like vertical, and sort of let the pain settle back in. The other thing I was a really strong memory for me is when my water broke. I was so overdue that I was so determined to go into labor, and I was living in Toronto at the time, and so my mom came to visit me, and we just walked and walked and walked and walked all day long, and then I went to an acupuncturist, and I had gone to this acupuncturist before when I was overdue, and they did a few needles and nothing happened. So this time I was like, I'm 2 weeks overdue. I need to get this baby out. So he went crazy and did like this whole one side of my body with needles all the way down. 20 minutes after I left the office, walking down Roncesvalles towards Parkdale where I lived, my water just gushed out of me right on the side of the street. And my mom was like, "Oh my goodness, should we get a cab or something?" I was like, "No, no, let's keep walking because I really wanted to get the contractions going, get the baby moving, and keep the momentum up." And so yeah, that memory of my water breaking was a strong one.
Wow, so the acupuncture worked.
Yes, it did.
Wow. Yeah, I've gotten it done once, but I don't know if it did anything. I just heard about it, so I was like, "Oh, let me try it. It's like good for your
To go into
metabolism
labor or
and
for other things.
just for other things."
Yeah.
So,
This was very
wow.
specific to go into labor.
So
Like
there's
just
specific points just for
well, I think it
labor.
was yeah, like to kind of like get the baby moving because she'd been in there so long and she just didn't want to come out. So I was like, how are we going to encourage this thing to come out of me?
Yeah. Wow. 2 weeks overdue. That's a long time.
Yeah, pretty
But
brutal.
yeah, wow. Did you receive any advice from friends, family, or healthcare providers that really stuck with you?
When I went into labor, I remember my midwife being like, just, if it's in the nighttime and, just try to relax, like have a glass of wine, like just try to like sleep, try to relax. Like, and I remember being like, really, I could have a glass of wine. And just kind of like her encouraging me to just try to relax and wait till the morning to like really try to like get things moving again because it takes so long for your body to be ready for labor.
Hmm.
And then I was a nanny before I had my daughter. So I was an infant nanny. So I had done so much research about babies and I had learned all about elimination communication and baby led weaning and attachment parenting. And so one of the best things I did with my daughter was when she first started to eat, when she was 6 or 7 months, was letting her feed herself and doing the baby led weaning. She was just such a great eater, an adventurous eater, would try everything, and she's never been picky about food. Like she'll eat oysters and like she just loves like food and textures. And I think I really give the credit to baby led weaning for that. And at the time, it was sort of new, like not a lot of people were doing it, but now, I see it in the newspapers, I see it on like mainstream media and stuff that baby and with doctors even that they encourage baby led weaning, which is just like allowing the baby to play with textures to get used to feeding themselves. And a lot of times when they first start eating, half of it they'll spit out. It's more like getting used to the textures. It's quite a messy thing to do with your child. But I think when you have a baby, the days feel so long that you kind of want to stretch out those moments. So having her sit in a high chair for an hour and eating and playing with food, however long it took her to eat, it was great. It was like it gave me time to tidy up the kitchen while she was eating in her high chair. So I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, it gives her freedom instead of just like, you're going to eat this. It's more
And you're
like, okay,
stuck
let her
there putting the spoon
experiment.
in her mouth, right? For an hour. So
Yeah.
your hands are tied up instead of letting them figure it out. And it just helps with their dexterity and like picking up things and learning. And at first, like, they can only really grip fully like this. So it's like a banana or big slices of avocado or a cooked pepper or like a whole, you can give them like a whole T-bone steak, like the bone, and they'll just suck on the bone for a while. So just like larger things, and you allow them the opportunity to kind of like figure out how to swallow properly, and they will often be less likely to choke or have accidents with food because they've given their mouth and their teeth and their tongue the time to develop and understand like the gag reflex and how to get food out that they can't swallow. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of science and research behind it now that suggests that it's great. So if people are interested in learning more about it, there's books on it or you can do your research and it's fun.
Cool. Baby led weaning. I've never heard of that actually.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's
it's
really
like
cool.
weaning is a term they use in the UK for when well, it's like going from breast milk to food to off of the breast milk. You wean your child. And so the weaning is like the amount of food that they will ingest versus the amount of breast milk and how it becomes more food and less breast milk over time. So they kind of wean themselves off of the breast milk.
Lead weaning. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. What's one piece of advice you heard about motherhood that turned out to be totally wrong?
That it would be natural. I don't know. I think, well, one of the things I had hoped I could do would be attachment parenting. Like I wanted to sleep with my child in the same room as me and carry her everywhere. And I just found being a single mom and I was just so exhausted. And then having a baby next to me, I wasn't able to sleep. Every little sound that she made, every little noise. They're so noisy when they're infants, when they're sleeping. So I was losing my mind. I was having such bad anxiety from the lack of sleep that I just had to put her in her own room.
Hmm.
So maybe thinking that her sleeping in the same room with me would be easier. Maybe that was the advice that was wrong for me personally. Maybe some women have no problem with it. They can sleep right through all the baby sounds and they like, just rolling over and being able to breastfeed right there. But it just it wasn't working for me, and sleep is such a priority for me, and I just knew that if I didn't get a good night's sleep, I wasn't going to be a good mom in the morning. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm a light sleeper too. I don't think I would be able to do it.
yeah.
So yeah, that's very difficult. But yeah, some people can do it. Just depends.
A lot of people do. I mean, the most of the world do it, and in most countries, people have their babies on them all the time, or sleep with their babies all the time, and it's no problem. But I think I just got so used to over the years having my own space and like quietness, or yeah, it was tricky for me. It didn't come natural, that's for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. What was the most surprising part of pregnancy or birth that no one warned you about?
No one warned me about. I mean, I read so many books. Like I read Ina May Gaskin's Guide to Childbirth. I read Hypnobirthing. I read, yeah. I was like, I thought that I was overly prepared, and then the whole experience kind of was a fail, because my daughter was ended up being a C-section, and she had meconium aspiration. They were worried about it. She ended up being swept away to the NICU. So after giving birth, I was alone in the hospital room by myself with no baby after having a C-section, and just me and the nurse. And I was just so overwhelmed with grief and so sad from the whole process. And then the first time I went down to see her, and she was just in the incubator with her eyes wide open, sucking on a soother. And here I was thinking, the first thing that I would do would be like delayed cord clamping, and I would breastfeed her right after she was born. And the first thing that she ever tasted was sugar water so they could give her a spinal tap. So all of those expectations and dreams I had had for labor and childbirth were really crushed. So it was quite sad. I was and that first week with her being in the NICU was really, really emotionally challenging and difficult for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened, but she's healthy now.
Oh yeah, she was
So,
the biggest baby in the NICU too. She was huge compared to all the other ones. So, it was just circumstantial, really, and unfortunate. But when you go through those things, you certainly have so much more empathy for people who have gone through way worse, or have children that are born prematurely, or very prematurely, and spend months and months and months in the hospital. How much emotional toll it would take on you. I mean, I only had to do 7 days in the NICU, and it was horrible. So I'm certainly, my heart goes out to people who have experienced far worse than me.
yeah, there's so many stories out there, and a bunch of people come on here and they have really sad stories. So, yeah, my heart goes out to them. But as long as Lennon is healthy now, that's what matters.
Yes, yes, she's very healthy.
What's been your biggest, I have no idea what I'm doing moment so far?
Um, what did I have no idea? Um, I think just the challenges of, I don't know if it's children these days or if it's just my child, but her lack of interest in activities and other things outside the house have been a challenge for me, because I was such an active, engaged, curious child, and I was in so many activities, and I always wanted to do all those activities. So to have a child that is not that interested in extracurricular activities or struggles with them, that has definitely been a I don't know what to do moment, because it's like I don't know how to motivate her or keep her interested in these things and get her to participate. So that's definitely been my weak spot at point, I think. And homework, I have no idea how to do any of the math homework she's bringing home now. So I
Yeah, the stuff
gotta
they're
like look
doing
up how
these
to do long
days.
division again.
Yeah. With the activities, I think having a phone and TikTok and all of that has a lot to do with it, because they're already being so they're already having dopamine rushes just
Yeah.
watching TikTok. Why would they want to do anything else? Why would they want to leave the
Yeah,
house?
exactly. It's just, yeah, it's really sad what smartphones and social media have taken away from the kids in terms of their curiosity and their interest in activities and like being with other kids and things. So, hopefully this spring and summer we'll get her out on a bike and get her doing more activities. And she's in basketball and volleyball and swimming, but it's just such a every day. It's like a push to try to get her to keep going, keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fun. You're in a team, you make friends, you're getting out there, getting exercise. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good. Even if you have to push, it's good that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Final question. What advice would you give to other mothers or fathers listening right now?
Um, don't give your kid a smartphone. Wait as long as possible before
Hmm.
you have to give them a technology or give them a dumb phone, like a flip phone or something like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, and just not allowing them to have YouTube or watch TV too young. I think that most doctors will say that you shouldn't. There should be no screen time before the age of 2. I know it's very challenging. I was a single mother, and so sometimes you need a TV or a screen to entertain your child so that you can get things done. But the work that you're going to have to do later on down the road to try to pull them off of those screens and get them interested in other things, it's going to be detrimental to their growth and their health and their ability to be a successful adult. And so, avoiding screens and technology and smartphones as long as possible. That's my advice.
Yeah, they have positive effects, but they have a lot of negative effects. So it's good to prolong that
Mhm.
as long as possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely paying for it now. So,
Yeah. That's all we have for today. Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on.
thanks for having me.
Of course. And listeners, thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You've been listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby. If you're in the market for a new crib, glider, dresser, or more, we'd love for you to check out our line of furniture. Head over to oxfordbabyandkids.com or sohobaby.com. All links are within the show notes. For more information as a listener, enter the code podcast10 for 10% off your total purchase, plus free shipping on all orders over $799. Thanks for listening and tune into our next episode. Bye for now, and remember, every step is a step towards progress. We hope today's story gives you the confidence and the assurance that every journey is different, but we do it together.